Okay, probably the easiest way to get started making a cell phone version of a website would be to use the Jquery. Now, Jquery is JavaScript that you can install. If you go to Jquery, jquery.com, there's a whole bunch of JavaScript that they're JavaScript libraries that you can link to, and they'll do special things, and some of them would be transitions and things like that. But they have a whole mobile version of the Jquery. So if you just go to jquery.com and click on the mobile link there, it has an actual little tool that's built right into this web page that will allow you to help you build a page, and it'll save the programming for you, and then it actually builds it for you. So it's quite amazing. Little website right here. There was some of the information I wanted to in the demos and documentations here. Let me see if that's what I wanted to show you. Underneath there, we could just talk a little bit about the Jquery itself. Again, it makes these great mobile devices, mobile websites, using all kinds of things. You have page dialogues, which allow you to have different types of page systems. You can do the transitions like I was talking about before, where you click a button and it wipes away. Things like that. You can have button backups, and you'll see there's certain techniques, and what it does is as you're programming it keeps track and it gives you back buttons and things like that. And then the pop-ups is a new one here that I need to work on because I'm having a problem with that myself. But there's a whole variety of different ways of navigating, and so they talk a little bit about the page anatomy of a page here. It talks about the viewport. You might have noticed that from the first video. The viewport is a way of testing to see what size the screen is, and then it'll scale it down. So it knows how to do all those things automatically for you. Now, it is using this JavaScript code, the Jquery. Their code is linking directly to the built-in Jquery that is actually on their website. So you can see right here there's a source and it links to the Jquery. So in order to take the techniques that I'm going to demonstrate right here and make them work, you really need to have a link to a library, and that library is some library of some programming, and that programming is called Jquery, and so they have that automatically done for you when you start building this. You can also download and save these onto your computer so that you can use them internally without having to link to an external device, and I tend to do that with my website where I would download that, and you can just do that by clicking on the download button on this website and download the files right onto your computer. But in this case, you can see there's a basic template that you can start with, and then you can just start. There's a header at the top, and then there's main content, and then a footer at the bottom on most websites or mobile websites. So, again, if you look at the one that I have already built here, let's see, in Chrome. Well, this one right here, this is the header section up here. You can put graphics in there. These are basically graphics up here. You can type text up there. Again, you can have buttons that go places, and again, you have the transitions that go. You can put pictures in there. So the main area right here is basically a content area, and then the bottom down here is a footer. So most, and then here again is the main template page. Most in the Jquery here is basically from a template, and then you can customize it. In addition to customizing it, you can have different themes. And let me make this a little bit bigger here. Those themes are different color schemes, okay? And you'll notice there is, this is a template. Where's the themes here? Themes will be different color schemes. Where do they have themes on here? Theming pages here. So on the themes, you can have a blue one, a black one, a blue one. There's different types of blue. A white one, another type of white one, and then a yellow one. So, and then there's actually some customized ones that you can make your own if you can do some more programming. But again, these are themes, and you can choose a theme. You can even mix and match themes. So maybe the header is one theme, like black like this, but the content is blue like this, and you can mix and match. You're not stuck into a theme. The actual coding that you'll see here for a certain theme can be applied to anything, so you can actually adjust the theme. You're not stuck with a basic yellow if you don't want everything to be yellow and things like that. So these are multiple themes. Again, just go through this. I'm not going to go through all of these for you, but again, their transitions are good ones. Again, there's a fade, there's a pop, there's a flip, there's a turn. I tend to use the basic slide, again, that you see it on this website right here. When a person clicks a button, it slides. Picks a button, it slides. So you can actually adjust those things using the tool that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so they're giving you a warning that not all the transitions work with all the different cell phones devices. So some of these things that it does do might not work with all of them, and they're pretty good at either letting you know or things like that. So again, you'll notice there's a bunch of information about linking and all these different things. So let's get started. Again, the easy way to get started is to go to the Jquery mobile.com. Once you go to the Jquery jquerymobile.com, you can then go down to the tool. Okay, so there's a tool in here. Again, it's showing you that it works with Mac, Android, BlackBerry, and all the devices, Windows Phone, and things like that. So this is probably the easiest way to build a cell phone or wireless site. Basically, how this works is you come down to this window right here, and in this window, you'll see it gives you like a window down here that looks like a cell phone, and then up here you have tools and techniques. And what those tools are is you got a page header, page footer, a nav bar, a button, text, a map, different size text, an image right there, a collapsible window, a grid, a list view, a form, and an input text. So all these pieces that you see here are common sort of, kind of icons or images that you would see on a cell phone that person would click on. So to build my sample, I'm just going to use I'm going to start again with the page header. So how this works on this website here, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here because you don't need to see all that, is you take what you want to put on your cell phone and just drag it down here. So in this case, I'm going to take the page header, which is at the top. I'm going to drag it down here. So first thing it's going to say to you is okay, you put a page header on my cell phone website. What theme do you want? And I think I briefly went over the themes. Again, there's a black one, there's a blue one, there's a gray one, there is a light gray one, and then there is a yellow one, and then there's some default extra ones that you can program yourself. I don't know how to do those yet. So once you do that, then you have a kind of whatever the bar is at the top. Again, it's black in there. I'm going to make mine light gray. So I put a light gray one up there. Next is fixed mode. I'm not sure what that means. I think it's, does it stay the same all the time on every page? I think is what that means. I'm not really sure. Then there is some text right here. If you click on it, you can change the text. Right now it says header, so if you wanted to give your website a certain name, you can give it a name if you want. I could call it, what am I doing? I'm doing digital media website, like that. And then you can change the size, and then you can give it an ID. And the reason why you would give it an ID, and you probably should give each element on your page an ID, is so that you can do some programming on it. So you kind of usually give everything that you put on a cell phone website an ID so that you can program it. If you don't want any text in your top bar up there, whenever you're typing or select an item, like I selected this text at the top, you can either add or delete. Okay, add will add another one, I believe, or duplicate. Yeah, it'll give you a second line of text. Or if you hit remove because I don't want it, I'm gonna remove it. Because what I really want to do is I want to put my logo up there. So I'm going to go over there and I'm going to grab images. So the image icon that's on this page, and drag it to the head up there. And it'll put it up in there in the head there. And the URL right there, if you know the address, and I put the logo onto the website. Now, I don't think it's necessary that it has to be on the website. You can actually do it internally as far as knowing where to go. But for this demonstration purposes, I want you to be able to see it. So I do have it online on my server, so I can type in where it's located, and then you will see it. And then the other thing to keep in mind is I tend to use PNG as the file format instead of GIF and JPEGs, just because the PNG tends to work well on cell phones and stuff. So once I put the link up here to my, and again, it's a full link to a file that's on the internet. You'll notice it starts with the http://www, and then the web address, and then a link directly to, oh, don't mess that up. It goes directly to the file on the server. Again, you could probably do it internally. You don't necessarily have to do it that way. You'll notice it shrinks down to some default settings of 288 by 100. I don't want mine to be that big. I'm going to put it in 50 so it's not quite as stretched. The 288 seems to be a default setting, and it tends to fill up almost the whole screen. You could do percentage, and I think it would scale according to device. But, of course, if somebody comes from, like, let's say, a iPad or something, it might scale to the full screen and it would look all pixelated. So you might be wary of the percentage. Again, there's an alignment option right here. And if I'm going to put it in the center of the screen, there is a link option here, and that would be if you want them to link to a URL or a home. I believe links back to the main page. Maybe that's what it would be. Once you put a link on something, you'll notice it gives it this kind of round edges and makes it into a button kind of look. Gives it a button kind of look, and the reason why is because if you look at a cell phone, you'll notice that most of the links are kind of roundish corners, round buttons. Okay, and then again, I'm going to give an ID here, and I'm going to call it logo. So you can adjust it to any settings you want whenever you are building your site here. Next, you can put a little header in, or not a header, but some text in there if you want to have some text at the top of your page, maybe welcome or something like that to your page. An easy way of doing that would be to just add some text in there. We could just put a heading in there and just drag it down. Once I put the heading in there, put some text on. So any text that you want to be on there, you can just use the heading option right here. And to change the text, once you put it on there, you can come over here to the heading option over here. So each one of the items, when you have them in this window over here, as long as you have them selected, it'll give you the options over here. And I'm going to call it Welcome to West Valley College Digital Media. Now, of course, that's kind of big text right there. So, again, there is a smaller size, because this is using the traditional HTML H1 or H2 tags here. So, a bigger number, like H4, would be smaller text, and, of course, H1 would be the biggest text. So, I'm going to go down to number 4, which is a nice size there. And you probably don't need, if it's not doing anything, like I'm not going to click on it or do anything, I might not even give it an ID there. Next, I'm going to have a menu items right there. So one of the things I'm going to look at is my website here, and I do have some items here. Here's the website I'm working on building for there, and you'll see I have a home, a classes. So home I don't really need because I'm going to have a button that says, main menu or something like that. So we have classes, degrees, certificates, careers, news and events, and then West Valley College. So I'm going to take the same kind of buttons that I have on my website here, and I'm going to put it on my cell phone site. So how I'm going to do that again is I'm going to go and give myself a list view. And so you'll see a list kind of goes vertical, and you could do a nav bar like this too. That goes across. I'm not really sure if I would use nav bar list. I used list before. Not sure. Oh, one of them is just kind of the way that the button looks. The button kind of looks like a round edge, and it doesn't have an arrow on it. Okay, so what I mean by that, it does have an arrow over here. Oh, there's alignment features. A button is kind of round. Let me give you an example of a button. Let me go to Chrome here for a minute. On this site, you'll notice this is a list. See the list right here? This is what the list would look like. Down here is what a button would look like. It would be the round edge kind of. So the link to the Facebook that I have right here would be button, and this would be a list. So in this case, what I really want to do is not have this. So I'm going to hit the red to remove it. What I'm going to do is, instead of using the nav bar like that, I'm going to come over here to the list view right here, which is kind of, and the collapsible is very similar too, where you could click and have it open and close a box, so you can have like sub links. So if you have a sub menu or something like that. In this case, I'm going to take the list view and I'm going to drag it on there. One of the things is there's something called a divider, which is kind of like a heading and then the buttons are underneath it. You don't need to have a divider if you don't want. One of the things you can do is once I put the list on there, you'll notice it says divider theme up here and things like that. You can go to where it says divider here, and there's a kind of a button click here for divider, and I can say delete divider. So if you don't need a divider, you can remove it. I don't really want the divider right there. Next, again, I'm gonna you can give it a theme if you want. Again, it's using the light gray because that's what I chose for my header at the top. But I can just go and choose a different one if I want. If I want my buttons to be blue, or yellow if you want, or black if you really want to. So you can actually go and adjust them to what you want. Let's use black for now. I just want to use something different. And of course, the first one was classes. Okay, so then you have your theme. Again, this is black, and then you have your transitions. Remember we talked about that? I tend to use the basic slide because that's the one that everybody uses. But you might want to try some of the other ones and see which ones they do. Again, there's a basic slide, and that's a transition. So when the person clicks the button here on the cell phone, you know, what does it do? How does it load the next page? Does it fade? Does it slide? Slide is the default one there. I'm not sure what the count bubble text is. I'm not sure what that is. So I'm going to leave that blank. To add a new button here, I'm going to click the new button option there. And I'm going to do, I think it was degrees. And certificate. I got to spell it right. Certificate. Degree certificate. I'm going to add a new button. I'm going to add, what did I say? I was going to have news and events. News and events. I'm going to add another button. And so you just keep adding buttons by hitting the add new button right there. What do I have? Oh, I can't remember what my content is going to be here. News and events. Here's the one I did before. News and events. Careers, that's it. And West Valley College. So let me go back to the one I was building here with you. Careers. West Valley College. And then as you're building your website here, there was a way to add a link to that, if I can remember here. No. Okay, I'm not sure how to put the link in there. And in the old version of this, you could just type it in there. Maybe I'll have to go down the code. Right now it says link to page. It says home. So again, maybe I'll have to go into the code and adjust that later, but that's not important at this point. So once I put all these in, I can put things like photos on if I really wanted to. Again, right below my list, I might put an image in there. I'm going to put it kind of towards the bottom there, and maybe give myself a link to a picture right here. I can't remember where my logo is at this point, but I could give a URL for that. The last thing you want to put on your page would be to put in the footer at the bottom. And so if you click on the page footer, you can drag it down to the very bottom. And then you can give it I'm going to go back to the light gray for the footer at the bottom because of the one. And then I'm going to put some text on there. And I'm just going to call it contact digital media. And let's give it an ID. We'll call it contact. So it gives you a basic... a basic framework that you can work with. Again, if you want to just do that right now and say, okay, this is a good starting point for my phone here, and you want to send me a link and say, oh look, I've built my own phone kind of site right here. You can just take a screen capture of that by hitting print screen and go into Photoshop and send me what this looks like if you really want to. Once you're done building it in this page right here, let me pause this and we'll come back and I'll show you how to say